I'm Dr. Tony Stone, and I live in England, just outside the second city of Birmingham, and for the last 54 years I've been engaged as an international evangelist. There are many interesting and challenging things that happen when you're in the ministry, but one that has come very fresh to my mind recently has been a story that goes back about 14 years. I've been working for the last 25 years or so with an international evangelist by the name of Reinhard Bonnke, and we travel the world. He's 2 years younger than me, and so we kind of travel as two older men together. We were preparing for a special event in the UK, one of the only larger missions that Reinhard has done for us. We took a park in the second city of Birmingham that sat many thousands of people, and we had 1 week of meetings which were great. And my job prior to that was to train the counselling team. And so I'd gone to the main cities around, and I had talked to them about the counselling and been teaching them. And there was one pastor, he was a young Pentecostal pastor, who had organised in the locality of the city of Coventry, and so I was very much involved with him, came to know him quite well. And then about 3 or 4 weeks after we'd had the counselling classes, I received the tragic news that he had been murdered. What had happened, he'd just come out of the church and was busy locking up and doing the final jobs, and a young man sprang out of the bushes and attacked him and stabbed him and killed him. It was a great tragedy. He was a young married man, he had small children, and a large church, a family of church. And we were all very sad, and it's very easy to ask the question then, why did it happen? But time went by, and about 2 years later, I was invited by the churches of the city of Liverpool to hold a large tent crusade in the suburbs of the city. And nearby to where we pitched the tent and we were having the services, there is a major prison. It's a prison for people who have been told, or the court was told, were mentally unstable, and probably that was the reason why they committed whatever they did. It was a miracle that we got into the prison, because the prison chaplain there was not too fond of evangelists, and in fact I think was quite nervous that we were going there. I met him prior to the meeting, and he asked me, he said, I know that you're an evangelist. He said, you can preach whatever you want, but don't ask people to come to Christ. Don't ask them to put their hand up or to come forward or anything. So I was happy to do that, because that's not essential to salvation. And I preached. There were twice as many people as I expected, because they were all considered to be dangerous prisoners, and so every one of them had a warden or a guard with them. So I always tell people I got 2 for the price of 1, and so they all came. And after I'd finished preaching, it was the chaplain who said, if you'd like to stay behind and speak to Dr. Stone or any of his team, you may do so. And this young man came to me, and he sat close to me, and it was close because there was music still being played, and you had to be close to hear one another. And he told me, he said that he kept hearing voices in his head, and they were telling him to do bad things. I talked to him, and I told him that I knew that Jesus was able to deliver him, but I went through the steps of salvation again, and his need to open up his heart to Jesus. And it was wonderful. This young man was ready, and he bowed with me, and I led him in a prayer. I gave him words, and he prayed them audibly after me. when we had finished, he reacted very strongly, and he said, I cannot hear voices anymore in my head. And then he told me, he kind of made a general announcement, then he told me, and then he called the chaplain, and he said, you know, chaplain, you know what my problem is, but he said, I cannot hear any more voices, and I've asked Jesus to come into my heart. And that was so amazing. Then, without me pressing, because we would never ever ask people or talk about their particular problem that brought them into prison, he opened up, and enough to say that as he told the story, he said that these voices had told him that he was to kill a preacher. And the minute he said that, I began to think, oh, I've heard of that kind of story. And then he went on to describe how he had gone and hung around this church and waited until the minister came out, and he said he went and stabbed him. And it was the very young man that had stabbed my friend of 2 years before. But what deeply moved me, because I'd heard that the church members and relatives of the pastor had written to this boy on a regular basis to tell him that they forgave him and that Jesus loved him and that he could be forgiven. And without me probing or asking any questions, he told me. He said the thing that had kept him going were the letters, even, he said, from the widow had written to him to say that she forgave him, but that he needed forgiveness from Jesus and that they loved him and prayed for him. Humanly speaking, that young man will be in prison for the rest of his life. But actually, he is more free today than he's ever been, because he's been released from those voices, he's been released from the bondage of sin, and he is a vibrant testimony. All these years now, I hear from him. He is a vibrant testimony to the grace of God.